Hey everyone, welcome to our masterclass on how to grow your client relationships and agency revenue, leveraging annual client meetings. I'm really excited to run through this masterclass with you. Just a heads up, I've already taken everything from this masterclass and put it into a playbook. It actually wasn't it was a playbook that we already had in place last year. I went ahead and refreshed it, so you'll have everything from the processes that we'll be covering in here, as well as the email templates to be able to go ahead and execute on it. All right. So I'll go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. If you have questions, please notate them, put them in chat, and we will address them at the end of this call. All right. Great. Everyone should be able to see my screen. Okay. This playbook here was created for you to be able to learn to understand the process we use in my agency to run quarterly and annual client meetings. If you do VIP days, this content will work really, really well for that as well, okay? Before we get started, it's really, really important for me to be able to help you understand the benefits. Why does this matter to you? Why should you be doing this? If you are already doing this, great. Hopefully the processes that I share here, as well as some of the tips, will help you. I'll also be sharing specifically how we use client reports, a subset of functionality we've provided to My Web Audit users in early access, as well as the audits that we run as well to be used in the strategy calls or meetings, in-person meetings, if you happen to have them, all right? So the first thing I want you to remember is, and remind yourself on why this should be done and be done this quarter, is that it's so much easier to sell to an existing customer than it is to find a new lead prospect customer and sell them your services, right? So you've taken the time to work with the customer, build that rapport, and it is so much easier to be able to see how you can serve them. I remember it was between 2015 and 17, a light bulb just hit, and literally we went from having less than 20% of our customers on retainer to within 2 or 3 years having 100% of our customers on a retainer. And we've been able to grow our agency threefold since then by following many practices, one of them being this. Another benefit that we've experienced in our agency, and I attribute it to this process, is that we boast a 95% retention rate of clients over the last decade, right? Even through COVID, we had a record-breaking year and we lost no clients, okay? So if that isn't enough, now I'm going to go ahead and specifically speak about 7 of the key benefits of following this process for proactive client relationship management. Please note that I'm going to give you the high-level overview, the cliff notes, because you will have access to this playbook. And you can find that, by the way, by going to My Web Audit in the footer. For now, there's agency playbooks. You can click on this link and you will have it. There's nothing to unlock if you're a customer login. It'll help track that on where you're at. If you're not, again, this is my way of giving back, so you have access to everything here, okay? So the first benefit is that, simply put, it helps strengthen client relationships. Why? Because it helps demonstrate your commitment to their success, as well as it shows that you're interested and care about their needs. And the biggest one here is obviously lead gen or sales, if you're working with for-profit companies, and then brand awareness or saving time through automations or maybe building custom functionality to help those nonprofits with whatever needs they have online. And then building trust and rapport is really, really important, so that you have long-term relationships where your clients focus on running their business and trust you to help them solve their business problems versus looking at you as an order taker, right? If you are like me, for the first time, I can say probably in 7 to 10 years, I lost a client maybe a month and a half ago. They were like, hey, we got a new sales director. They've only been with us for a year, but we have a new sales director and they want SEO. And literally within the week, I started speaking to them. Their guy was like, yeah, I worked with someone else. We'd like to try them. And when we lost the opportunity to bid on the SEO, they actually took the website care plan along with them. Good news is, because I've had a great relationship with them, I told them, hey, look, we do SEO. We understand the situation. Let us know where we fell short. They literally were like, hey, our guy wanted to try them out for 3 to 6 months. If it doesn't work out, we'll come back to you. Now, I've never had this happen to me in the last 7 to 10 years. And so I realized between that and the reduction of leads that we've seen over the last 3 to 6 months here, that it's even more important for us to do this. And so if you are someone who wants to ensure that you don't just rely on the fact that you've worked with someone, they like you, and that you have years of relationship together, follow this process, and not only will it position you as a trusted partner that helps them grow their business, but also helps you generate more revenue. Okay. It allows you to, in essence, showcase your proactive expertise. You can identify challenges that you didn't know existed without having the conversations with them, and then position yourself as the strategic partner to help solve them. And in this case, we've worked with our clients having calls like this to understand they're looking for redesign, they're looking for graphic design, pamphlets, brochures, logos. We've also understood they needed video work, and we've now white labeled a videographer here. And then also we've worked with companies where they're like, hey, we're looking to find someone to take our legacy database into something more modern. And we're like, oh, well, we do web application work. And, that's helped us generate hundreds of thousands of dollars by following this strategy. Okay. So it allows you to also have a deeper business understanding of what's going on in their business, right? Issues that they may be having. If you're not having these conversations with them, you're not going to understand what that looks like. You're not able to say, hey, look, my business offers SEO or paid ads, or we do website retainers where you don't have to worry about hiring someone part-time, or when you travel, figure out how to handle orders on your e-commerce site. We can help you support that, right? It allows you to stay top of mind with them so that when they have an issue, it may be IT related, but at least they reach back out to you and say, hey, Cliff or April or Jen, do you know who I can speak to? And then it gives you an opportunity to potentially connect them with someone in your network, versus them going out to someone else and then possibly that person saying, hey, well, we do web design, or we know someone else. Okay. It allows you to drive revenue both for them and for yourself, right? Because you move away from being an order taker to a trusted partner, because they start working with you on monthly services outside of your care plan, or increase your care plan. Literally, you're increasing the customer lifetime value. It gives you this opportunity to also upsell and cross-sell services. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. It allows you to enhance your service quality, right? By getting feedback on what's working, what services they want. You're able to quickly iterate and optimize on that. And then lastly, and most importantly, outside of generating revenue for your business, is that it improves client retention. By doing this well, you reduce your chances of having them leave you for whatever reason, because you are not only a trusted partner, but you're helping them on vital aspects of their business that they don't see as a commodity, right? So for example, if all you do in your business is update plugins, or make team updates, or make basic content updates, chances are you will be easily replaceable, irrespective of how well you address those type of needs or how nice you are to your customers. Okay. The industry space for agencies and freelancers is changing rapidly. And I believe over the next year or two, between AI and, honestly, we thought the race to the bottom was there 3 or 4 years ago, from freelancers doing, $100, $200, $500 websites. It's becoming worse now. And so you don't want to be looked at as a commodity. You want to be looked at as someone who's delivering tremendous value and a necessity for them to be working with. Okay. Biggest key takeaways here: it allows you to have a strategic partnership as a trusted advisor. It's a revenue driver, not only for your agency, but obviously you want to be able to do this well so that you can help them grow. Relationships are strengthened. And then because you have better insights to the business, it allows you to propose better solutions for them, right? Money talks, it works. We use this in our agency. It's allowed us to keep a 95% customer retention rate, as I mentioned. And, we've had things happen where even with nonprofits, right? We were on a call with them and they were like, hey, look, we have additional funding that we have to use. Can we pay for our care plan for the next 3 years? And that was a huge win for us, right? Whether or not they continue that aspect of their business, at the end of the day, we got 3 years of revenue up front. We also had someone else to say, look, we have another grant that has come in for a different organization, and we'd like to see, what work can be done. Just because we jumped on to talk to them about their website, they were like literally we need this work done. And so it led to $103,000 of new work. And this constantly happens, not at these numbers, but in different areas. Right now in our agency, we have one redesign, we have one homepage redesign, one SEO and PPC, in essence, discovery, to see how they can scale that up for additional services. And that's just what we've had triggered over the last 2 weeks of us focusing on this. And then our goal is to be able to work through this in phases. So if you're like our agency, if you only have like 10 customers, that's not a big deal. We'll be talking about what that looks like to identify who you want to work with next. But the reality is you want to be able to segment them to groups and make sure that you speak to a group of customers and then move to the next group. Because if you end up getting 5 or 6 or 7 of them saying, hey, well, we want all of this stuff done in the next month, it becomes a problem, right? So let's talk about what planning looks like here. I will slow down just a little bit because I speak fast and obviously we have a lot to cover here. So the first thing you want to do is be able to select the clients that are ideal for this opportunity. Generally, you want to do it for everyone, but start with those that you enjoy working with, the ones that are growth oriented. Like they tell you things like, hey, this is what our goal is, or we want to try to grow 30%, or we've realized, we didn't hit our revenue goals for 2023, and we really need to focus on 2024 and 2025 because we only have like 5-6 months left, right? Those are going to be companies that we're generally looking at. The ones that also have a high potential for driving results where we can make impact through our services, right? One of the examples I often say is if you are working with a barber and potentially a kitchen remodeler, approach the kitchen remodeler first, because if you can get the kitchen remodeler 5 more leads a month, chances are that's potentially between, $20,000 to $50,000 worth of revenue that they have to try to close. But if you got a barber, right, 10 leads, literally that might be, even at $50 a cut, that's $500, right? So figuring out what that looks like, and then ensuring that you are working with people who pay upfront or pay promptly when you invoice them. Once that's done, you want to have a priority. If you have a large enough customer base, 30 to 50 or 50 to 100 plus customers, then you want to put together some sort of priority for who you speak to. And literally that's as simple as building a tiered system of A, B, and C, and then really start with the A. Usually in our agency, any client that ends up spending 10 to 20,000 or more with us a year, we put them in that A bucket. That's every year. We put them in that A bucket, and we try to have a conversation with them like this every 3 to 6 months at least. And then if you're in the B bucket, usually 6 to 12 months. And if you're in the C bucket, which are people who just want us to manage their care plan and not really care so much about any of the growth services, then that's once a year. We're trying to be able to have that conversation and say, look, whether it's your website, your growth plan for optimizing your GBP and your SEO, whatever that is, we try to have that conversation at least once a year with that segment of customers. Okay, we want to make sure that we schedule efficiently, right? So what we're doing is we're building a standard template, which I have provided here for you, right? So you'll literally just goes with, hey, I hope this finds you well as part of our VIP care plan. You're entitled to a complimentary personalized growth plan strategy. And on that, our team has gone ahead and analyzed your digital presence and uncovered several great high impact opportunities to help you grow. Then really, I tell them what that 60-minute call would look like, and then give them two times that work really well for me. And if not, then they have a link to the Calendly, right? So you have this template. There's an alternative down here as well from the last version. So you have that email, customize it, and then send it out to this group of people. What's really, really important for you to do is to be able to understand, in order for you to solve the gap and to be able to add value on this call and close more revenue, you want to understand what their pain points are, their desired outcomes, as well as, in essence, their goals, right? So in order to do that, usually we're looking at notes from past calls, analyzing things from our CRM, looking at our emails, and then the intake form, right? When any client starts working with us, we take them through discovery. There's an intake form. They have to answer some questions. And so generally there, we ask them about their goals. And if you happen to not have any of this, it's simple. It's as simple as just sending them an email after they say, yes, yes, April, we want to go ahead and, or yes, Cliff, we want to go ahead and have this strategy call. I'm just going to send a quick note and say something like, in order to get the most value out of this, could you just answer these three questions, right? And it's usually, what's your primary goal for this quarter and why is that important to you? What's the current challenges costing your business, right? Those type of questions. The follow-ups are usually what I'm going to ask when I jump on the call with them, okay? Because that's enough to give me an idea of what they're looking to do. I then am spending some time understanding the industry. If I don't know much about the industry, just so you know, AI is great, whether you use ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, all you have to do is jump in and say, hey, I run an agency. I'm looking to serve a customer in the home remodel industry. Can you tell me a little bit about the pain points, the trends, etc.? And in 5 minutes, you'll have enough information to be able to guide that call with confidence, okay? Then you want to identify wins. This part is really important. No matter what you do, even if you just offer basic website care plan for that client, it's important to be able to articulate to them some things that you've been doing well and why they should care, okay? So I've broken this down based off of, in essence, the services and potentially the outcomes. So if you are like our agency and you do website work and you have someone on a care plan or retainer, two simple factors that we measure on the website, or three of them, are click to calls from mobile devices, form submissions, and then if they have a live chat, we're setting up a goal conversion for that. In my web audit, we have a product called Client Reports, and literally all you do is come and click connect report, connect this to Google Analytics, and it generates this report for you, right? So in this case, we know how many goal completions were made. We actually know what the goals were. We know where, what channels that information was coming from. And then because we calculate goal values, when we set it up in Google Analytics, it pulls everything over, right? So we have something simple like this where I can jump on and let's just say I was speaking to Jane. Hey, Jane, look, just a heads up. When it comes to your website, even though you're not doing any SEO with us right now, you've got, well, this client is doing both paid ads and SEO with us, but let's just say they weren't and it was 8. I'll be like, hey, you got, 8 goal completions. What would it look like if we could make these changes on your website to convert more of your visitors into customers? Or what would it look like if we started generating some paid traffic or organic traffic where you get 30% more leads or 40% more leads this year? What is that going to look like for your business, right? And we usually want to future pace them. So this is an easy way. If you don't have access to client reports, all you have to do is drop a note to support at My Web Audit, and we'll get you access to this at no additional charge, at least for the next 3 to 6 months. All right. Next is being able to, once you have this for the website part, then the next part is local SEO, right? Whether or not they do local SEO with us, we are connecting to their Google business profile, again, to be able to tell them things like, hey, look, you got these many calls and these many visits. What we do on the back end of this report, again, it's just a plug and play, and then it shows the data here, is we ascertain what it would take to generate a call. So let's just say it costs, $10 a click to get to a website. It's going to take 10 clicks at a conversion rate of 10%. That means it's going to take $100 to generate a call. So if you have 18 calls, that's $1,800 worth of paid traffic. Now that's the call value that's being generated here. Another way to do it is to say each lead for this customer is worth $50, $500, $1,000, whatever it ends up being, and you could change that up here as well. But again, this is another report, so we're quickly showing them this to say, hey, look, again, if we can optimize your GBP. Now, remember, we have a website audit that is connected with website analytics. We have a GBP audit, right, that is also connected with the GBP profile. So everything we're doing, we're showing them a metric, and then we'll be literally showing them opportunities to boost that metric by solving the issues we've identified in the audit. Okay, hope that helps. So again, I've kind of mapped all that out here and given you examples. For those of you that literally are like, Cliff, we don't do any of this, I highly recommend that at least you start doing this and sending these reports out on a monthly basis. If you don't have Google Analytics, install it, set up the goals. We only work with Google Analytics right now, but you can try to figure out how to do this in other more maybe other analytic platforms that may be more privacy centric if you happen to use those. But the idea is no matter what to set up goal tracking, okay? So you can show your customers that their website is a sales and marketing resource, whether or not they see it that way or whether or not they're looking to invest in it. And the idea is by showing them this information, you can help build a compelling case as to why it is and why they should continue to invest in it, right? If you're looking at analytics, this is a great way for you to be able to, again, my web audit, all you have to do is, if you have access, you can plug and play, and then we do an analysis of the analytics. Just this week, for those of you that already have access to client reports, we just launched the Google Search Console report. So this one is really good because it gives you a quick overview of who's searching for your website, the keywords. You can not only see the queries, but then you can see what pages that the queries are going to, which is kind of a nightmare to try to figure out inside Search Console and analytics, right? And same sort of thing here. If like, hey, this website is getting certain pages are getting traffic, you now know what the keyword is. You can optimize for that, and then you can actually look at the content and say, hey, I'm going to optimize this, put some call to actions, and do some CRO work as well as SEO work, content work, and now you have an opportunity to help them get more results from pages that are already ranking well. Okay, so Google Analytics, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on there. But sorry, I apologize. I totally skipped the non-monetary. So if you don't happen to do this, you can still tell them, look, quick wins, your website has been up and has not been down, so your customers or leads have been able to check it out. We've protected you from whatever, 300, 500 hack attempts, exploit attempts on your website over the last quarter. We've built new time-saving features from your form integration to your CRM, whatever that looks like, right? So if you're not focused on marketing, there's still other ways to measure ROI and talk about quick wins when you jump on these calls. All right. Then with analytics, looking at high-performing pages, underperforming important pages, these are easy things for you to look at, take note, and then bring them up during the strategy call. If paid speed is an issue, you can obviously look at running a paid speed optimization audit and run it for the top pages on the website. On-page SEO, same sort of thing, right? Identify the high traffic pages and then look for opportunities to improve them even more. Or important pages that are not ranking well, run audits, opportunities to rank well. Now, conversion optimization, like if you're working with e-commerce, the e-commerce audit works really well. Web design, same sort of thing, looking at the high traffic pages and then looking at it from that perspective. And each one of these have very simple examples. Now I'll move into the part about audits and how they work, right? So based on our data and in our agency, if you're running a web agency, the best audits to run are obviously the website audit, the on-page SEO, and the GBP. You might be wondering, well, hey, Cliff, I don't do SEO. Why would I run the SEO or the GBP audit? The reality is that because of what we've built up now, and you don't know SEO, you can literally follow step by step. We've included something that's called an AI assessment. So once it runs through the audit, just like this, it'll run through another round, like leveraging our AI bot. And in essence, it's like an AI co-pilot that runs through the audit and then takes down notes about the website and generates action points, right? So for example, when you think about a phone number, if a phone number doesn't have the right visibility, it literally now says like, look, put the phone number in the right place. Here's some places to put it. Here's why. With your lead form, they don't have a lead form. It won't just say, yes, there was a lead form or no, there wasn't. Literally, it'll tell you what fields, how to make it better, improve the copy. All of that is written, right? So you could literally take this and put it into your scope of work. So you want to analyze this, look at what our AI co-pilot has had to say about the audit, and then take it and analyze it. The same thing goes for Google Business Profile, right? So once it analyzes it, you can kind of show them the areas of opportunity that they're lacking on, but really you can kind of go into the AI insights part and say things like, look, there's an opportunity for videos, your business description needs some work, here's what we've kind of put together, we've analyzed your business versus the competition, here's what the breakdown looks like, and by the way, all of this is now done, so hours of crunching, data crunching, and analysis is now done completely, right? So you can take this, you can even say things like, we realized you didn't have any Q&As, and here are potential Q&As that we recommend you add to be able to get you more visibility. So if you don't offer these services, just know that they work hand in hand. Like if you have a great website a GBP sends traffic to it, it adds more value by helping generate more traffic and leads. And if you have a great website, your GBP ultimately sees Google knows and gives the GBP more visibility. All right. So they all work hand in hand. Okay. So you should be running these audits. Obviously, if you want to focus on a competitive landscape, we have a competitive analysis audit. If you're working with e-commerce clients, then we highly recommend the e-commerce audit. The paid speed audit also helps. And then no matter what, you should be running an ROI audit. Now our new website audit updates include the ability to just include an ROI report and vice versa with the e-commerce. So the benefit of doing this is you can quantify or project potentially the impact of your services so that you can future pace the client, right? And that works really, really well, because if someone can say, well, okay, yeah, you know what, Cliff, if I spend $3,000 or $4,000 updating my website, and let's just say, $1,200 to $1,500 US a month on some local SEO, you're telling me that, with 1% conversion rate and generating 30% more traffic, I can add $100,000. Yeah, in this case, this is an estimated projection for a kitchen remodeler, right? So once you get to this, it's like, oh yeah, well, if you can add this type of revenue to our business or bottom line, then there is no issue spending a few $1,000s, even $5,000 or $10,000 in work, and then putting them onto a retainer plan, right? So that's how all of these different reports in My Web Audit come together. You have these client reports that quickly allow you to identify metrics that you can show them. And then you have the audits that allow you to identify areas of opportunity that you can present to them. So obviously what we do is we only focus on the areas that matter. So if they say things like, we're looking to generate more leads, then we're focusing on SEO or user experience. If, for example, they have enough visitor traffic, but they're not converting enough of those into leads, then we're focusing on copy and conversion, right? And then we close with ROI to future pace them so they understand working with us is an investment, okay? So once that's all done, like our goal is to prepare actionable insights. We run these different audits and we prioritize recommendations, right? So rank suggestions based off of impact and implementation. The good news is all of our reports, for the most part, do that right off the bat, right? So we have a medium, high impact. We're generally only focusing on the high impact points that correlate to their desired outcomes. So for example, if they were talking about getting more leads, we might focus on SEO and conversion optimization. Primarily, if they already have enough visitors coming in, then we're looking at possibly what's the quality of that content and conversion optimization. Conversion optimization just ensures your phone numbers in the right place, lead forms, chat, trust factors like case studies, testimonials are visible to visitors of the website. Okay, we want to customize the approach here. I'm not going to spend much time. The idea being make sure that, your verbiage, if you're working with a dentist or roofer, that you use the right verbiage and you speak specifically to the industry. When you're jumping onto a call, make sure you have all the reports open, kind of like I do. Make sure that you have any of the other data that supports it and notes, and ensure that your screen sharing tool works. Again, nothing rocket science here, so I'll skip off on that and we'll move directly in to the meeting agenda, okay? So once you have scheduled a call, usually I'm looking to schedule that call out at least 2 days, and that gives me enough time. Once that's done, this is kind of a rough idea of how we work through it. I'm going to go through a high-level overview and intro here. We're trying to be friendly. Hey, Jane, how are you doing? It's been a while. How's business? And then let them know, like, this is the agenda. We're trying to get to that within 3 to 5 minutes and it's done. Okay, best practice here, obviously keep it friendly, you want to be as concise as possible, but set an agenda and stick to that agenda. Next, you want to review quick wins. Usually for us, that's about 5 minutes. If they have questions, it might move to 10 minutes, but really we're like, hey, look, you get your monthly reports. I just want, because all of the reports I just shared with you are part of our monthly care plan reports. So we're like, we just wanted to highlight this in case you haven't been looking at it. Do you have any questions? If they don't have anything, then we're like, look, based off of the data we've seen here, there's tremendous opportunity to optimize on these areas to be able to get to the goals that you indicated you wanted to address. Okay. So that's where I now ask them like, hey, let me be clear about what you shared and understand, what's the reason this is important to you now, what's it costing your business, and literally, if you can solve this, what would that look like for your business, right? So we're spending some time here. And once I'm good here, usually I am in 5 to 10 minutes, I'm usually done here. I'm now moving into presenting the opportunities, right? I'm able to map out really them saying what they need, whether it is design work, content work. Usually because we're talking about goals and pain points, it's more traffic, more leads, more orders if it's e-commerce. And then now we're mapping out the information we found on the audits, and I'm just presenting that briefly. Within 10, 15 minutes, I'm usually done. 20 minutes if it's really a lot of different opportunities. Usually I'm also staying high level. It's okay to do that, by the way. It's okay to say something like, hey, Jane, I'm going to go high level on these opportunities because we have several of them. Let me know if you want me to do a deep dive or spend more time going into some of the insights for XYZ. Okay. And then they'll give you that feedback. Otherwise, you're spending a lot of time speaking about things they really don't care about, because most of the time you should be focused on the outcome of what that problem solved looks like for them. Right. And then we once that's done, we're obviously measuring what matters to them, right? Tailoring the information we found. We prioritize everything by impact. Generally, we're only focusing on high impact, high ROI opportunities. We avoid technical jargon, right? Examples of this that I'll show you later would be, we avoid things like JS, minification. We'll just talk about page performance or page load times. If it's things like schema markup, we say things like, hey, there's code we can add onto your website that tells Google more about what you do. It allows that to help improve your online presence, which gets you more traffic, which then ultimately leads to more leads or customers. Okay. We then give them time like, hey, Jane, hopefully what I explained here makes sense to you. Are you ready to move forward with everything or some of it? Do you have questions about what I've covered? Oftentimes we're working with the IT director, sales director, marketing director, or the business owner, and they're just focused on making the business look good. If they're not the business owner, if it's the business owner, it's like, how do we grow it? And usually when we do that, the business thrives, and the people that are supporting it in those other roles as IT director, sales director, and marketing director, they just look better, right? Because things are working well in the business. And so we usually don't get a lot of pushback, but oftentimes we are anticipating things. Obviously, if we know that it's a large investment, for example, five to 10,000 just to improve the website, or we're selling, SEO, then we are anticipating questions like, do you have case studies, or, how long will results take? And so we have some of those notes that we can bring it in as well as, hey, we've identified all of these issues. What do you want to work with? And we have some sort of budget range where we're going to tell them, hey, look, we think it's going to be X number of dollars and we can solve this in X number of weeks. Or if you're on a retainer with us and you don't want to spend that money up front to get the results faster, what we can do is split it over the next 6 to 12 months on your care plan, and you're going to move from whatever, $329 a month to $799 a month or something like that, right? So that's the Q&A. Then we move into really the closing part, which is we summarize the key points and talk about next steps. We are then also telling them, hey, that part of the next steps is sending you an invoice and the scope of work that you've agreed to on this call. Do you have any questions? Are you ready to move forward? If for some reason they're not ready to move forward, then our goal on this at this point is to schedule the next call in the next 1 to 2 or 3 business days at the most, to be able to have that conversation about what objections they have or what other details they need. Okay. Follow-up best practices. Once that's done, we send a recap email. Again, here you have a template for the follow-ups and the recaps. All right. So everything is here, as well as the benefits and all of that. So you can just scroll down in here and you'll see what the other emails look like. Okay. And once this is done, like this is the, hey, strategy call is done. Here's a short video overview of the things we covered. Scope of work is listed here, or you can attach it as a document telling them the invoices on the way, or attach the invoice depending on your invoice tool. We usually have to send that separately, and that's it. As far as tips to success goes, time management, really, really, really important for you to stick to the agenda. keep them on board with that. Flexibility, obviously, if they have questions, answer them, but also make sure that you don't go down a rabbit hole with them. It's really, really important for you to practice active listening. A simple indicator is, are you speaking more than them? In every area, generally, they should be speaking more than you, except for the audit presentation part where you're covering some of the insights. And then it's really, really important to remember how to connect everything that you're presenting directly back to their needs, goals, and outcomes, right? Because the value prop here is that your services can help them solve those desired outcomes, pain points, needs, goals, whatever that is. And it's really, really important for you to make sure that you have confidence to know that your services deliver value and that your services are going to add value to the business. Once that's all done, right, now you just have to take action. So this is what you need to really be doing tomorrow and the day after. Identify your priority clients, use this template. If for some reason they do not respond, understand that your clients are also busy, right? They might be on vacation, maybe out dealing with a project that's really, really important. Follow up, right? 3, 6, 8 days. Make sure if you don't hear back from them in 3 to 6 days, right? Like after the second or third follow up, like pick up the phone. Hey, Jane, look, we just wanted to see if we should still keep you, if we should still keep you on our first phase of clients that you would want to work with to help grow your business, where we contacted you as one of the top 3 or one of the top 5 of our clients. Just so you know, this is on a first come, first serve basis. I just want to know if we should schedule you out to next month or next week or later this week, right? Be able to pick up the phone, send an email, stay top of mind, and keep pursuing them with intention and not harassing them, but with the understanding that you're looking to deliver value. And unless you get a no, effectively at least do 3 to 5 follow-ups. Okay. Best practices here, obviously make sure that you're personalizing it wherever you can. If you spoke to the person a couple of weeks ago or you emailed them earlier this week, don't say like, it's been a while since I heard from you, right? So make sure you customize and personalize that. Your goal is obviously to ensure that you present the information to them, focus on value. And so the emails here, we'll talk about that. Make sure that you're persistent without obviously pressure. And then the call to action here is make it very clear that you're looking to set up a call with them to be able to cover these insights that you've identified for them. Biggest mindset here is believe in the value of your services and potentially what results they can drive for your customers. And then the last 2 here are really simple. Be specific in your talking points to each. Make sure that you do follow up and that any notes that they give you, start putting these into a CRM or into some sort of Notion book or whatever that may look like, okay? Pro tips to close the deals. This is like the lightning round. Group talking points by client outcomes, right? What do I mean by this? If they're focused on leads and sales, then really here I want to talk about the website audit, on-page SEO, Google, and then cover this. Really what I'm looking to do here is focus on these audits if that's their primary goal. If their goal is really, hey, look, things are not working out with our sales process, we're getting leads from the website, but it's taking us 2 or 3 days, or we're not getting leads because they're going to our junk box, then your focus there is going to be talking to them about how your services can save time. Maybe that's building some automations, integrating a CRM, building automations in the CRM, leveraging email automation for leads that come in for nurturing, right? Whatever that looks like. If they focus heavily on brand awareness, then really our strategies here are to look at social media stats, Google My Business, this is supposed to be just Google GA. Okay, sorry. And Google Business Profile Optimization. That's what will help on-page SEO to get more visibility, and then obviously the opportunity to do content creation and marketing for thought leadership. We're tailoring our presentation to the client. What I mean by that is depending on who I'm meeting and what their needs are, there might be times where I dive deeper into it based on the ICP, and I am ensuring that I understand the industry and their pain points, okay? I'm able to quantify the impact of our services. That's where the ROI report comes in handy. I'm addressing objections proactively, right? So whether it's budget constraints, then I'm talking about tiered packaging. If it's implementation timeline, I'm able to set effective timelines to roadmaps and milestones. If they don't have a lot of investment capital upfront, it's then spread over a longer period of time. If they have investment capital upfront, then it can be done faster. The idea is to then articulate to them, the sooner it gets done, the faster they experience the results of our services. When it comes to, well, I'm not sure if this is a good investment, the ROI report, and then I have the agency sales framework. So there are times when the customer is going to say something like, hey, you know what, this is an objection, and we have a complete framework to that, right? So we want to leverage the feel felt found. I understand how you feel. Other people or other clients we've worked with have felt the same way. What they've found is by doing XYZ, they've got that result, right? So I have a list of different questions, generally like, I can afford to do this, right? So how to use this framework to be able to address that. It's all in here, so you can spend time reading that on your own. We have a video training workshop on that as well inside the bonus resources section, right? One of the other things we really want to do is set a sense of urgency. What do we mean by that? The reality is we have a specific set of resources allocated to helping our clients. We have dozens of clients. We can help all of them at the same time. So first come, first serve basis is something we communicate to them. Next, we often talk to them about highlighting the cost of inaction, right? Like, hey, Jane, look, like you've got 18 calls this month from your GBP. We looked at it, and 2 months ago, you were getting 30 or whatever, right? So just understand, like, the competition is optimizing their GBP. You may want to do the same. Talking to them about, like, hey, well, they might say something like, well, we like what you've presented here. We really don't have the investment. Come back to us in 3 months. Well, hey, just want to let you know, obviously the economy is constricting here. The competition seems like they're spending more money. Ads are even more expensive. Chances are 3 months from now, you'll be even further behind than you are today. Talk to them about discounts. If you do offer them in your business, like, hey, look, if you sign up in the next 2 days or next 24 hours, we're willing to offer you X discount, right? To move forward. Or the other way is, if you don't do discounts, be like, just want to let you know that we have priced this competitively. We can only honor this bid for the next 2 weeks or the next 30 days. And after that, we would have to revisit this based off of our resources and potentially the other work that we might need to be doing in order to get you to where we thought we were going to be today. All right. And that might mean, for example, if they've made a whole bunch of changes and page speed has now changed, or they added new pages and they want SEO for it, or whatever that might be. So changes ultimately will lead to the need for us to reanalyze some of the scope. Visual aids, it's really, really important. That's why we have reports like this, and we have charts in different places to be able to quickly showcase key KPIs for a business owner, right? So that they can look at this and say, oh yeah, okay, this makes sense. I don't have to read and crunch a whole bunch of data. So having information in these different reports, right? So for example, if I'm talking to them about their search visibility on the Google business profile, hey, your business is located here, just a heads up, like you could go out 4 or 5 miles and you're not ranking there. Did you know that XYZ company is actually ranking better than you? And they're like, wait, now I can visually quickly see that. I definitely need to make improvements, right? So it's really important to be able to use visual aids, whether that's reports, images, etc., data from analytic reports, to be able to show them versus tell them how you can deliver value or what the problems are. Practice active listening, we kind of covered that. And the call with, or the meeting with the clear call to action. This is things like, hey, look, I'm going to send you this email with a recap. An invoice needs to be paid in, 12 to 24 or 1 to 2 business days. If you do online billing through credit cards like we do, then that's feasible. Other people may need to drop something in the mail, and we'll say in the next 3 to 5 business days, right? Follow up effectively. A couple of tips here. If you get done with the workshop, one of these workshops, right after that, within 1 to 2 hours, you generally want to send that email out with the video. If they watch the video, like Loom will give you a notification. So that's a great way to follow up, make sure that the invoice is paid. If they say, hey, we need more time, then you really want to make sure that your next step before you end that call or end that meeting is schedule the next one, and try to do it within 1 to 3 business days, at the most 3 to 5 business days, just so that it's top of mind and it's moved forward versus allowing other priorities to come in the way. And remember, like, the mindset here is this goal is not just for you to be able to close the deal and make revenue, but to really establish a long-term partnership by delivering value for your customers, right? Do this and you'll start realizing that your revenue will grow and your agency will grow without having the need to just constantly look for a new customer. Like getting new leads is definitely important and a big part of growing your business, but so is focusing on increasing the customer lifetime value by serving your existing customers better. This is the whole framework and strategy that we use. Now, I'll close with a couple of common mistakes. Offering too much detail. Some people, you don't want the eyes to glaze over, their mind to wander, right? Focus on the things that matter, and that's it. Again, you can see examples here. Technical jargon, avoid that as much as possible. Discussing unfamiliar topics, right? For me, accessibility is that problem. Find someone who does accessibility. Tell them something like, hey, look, I've blocked this time to cover these goals, and we have a tight schedule. Let's schedule a call for next week and we can discuss accessibility, PCI compliance, or whatever random thing that may come up, right? You don't want to go down rabbit holes or to sound uneducated about a topic. And then obviously if it's not focused to helping you close more revenue, then it's generally and not focused on getting you to the end of this call where they say, all right, this is what I want done, then you want to avoid that generally, okay? Neglecting to set clear objectives. This is really important. You want to start the meeting by stating what you want to do, what you're going to cover, and what the next steps will look like when you're done. And once that's actually done, you want to be able to send them another email and then set clear objectives there as well. Okay. Failing to personalize the presentation. What I mean by this is make sure that anything that's templated, whether it's the variables for the client or the customer, whether it is general templated copy where you might use the word clients for one type of client that you serve, and then their clients are also clients or their customers are also clients, but then you might be working with a roofer and then a dentist and they call their clients patients. So making sure that you have the proper verbiage, all of that in place is really important. Talking more than listening is not a good idea generally, right? In any conversation, and it applies definitely on these calls. Overlooking a decision maker. This one's really easy to solve by understanding who the decision maker is, making sure they're on the call and having conversations with them and addressing their objections primarily, especially if there's other people in the room. But never have these type of meetings with someone who isn't a key decision maker, because the last thing you want at the end of this is like, oh yeah, you know what, thank you, this was really helpful, I'm going to go explain it to John or Jane, right? No, you want to speak to the key decision maker, and here's some tips on that. For failing to manage your time effectively. This is where you're like, hey, I'm so sorry, I'm over, can I get 15 more minutes of your time? Or them asking you for a whole bunch of time. I allocate 90 minutes for these calls. I only block out 60. This way, if they say something like, hey, could we have a little bit more of your time? We're already meeting. I can do that versus saying you have to move on to the next call, right? Because my job is to answer any questions they have, deal with any hurdles, and get them to say, yes, we're ready to move forward. Not preparing for objections. This one's obviously very simple. Based off of your client persona and what you're looking to have them invest in, it's important for you to be able to understand how to handle common objections and demonstrate the value of your services. Okay, so this was a lot. Again, you can take your time. Obviously, the recording will be available. You can come here, find this, go through this on your own. Inside here is the link to all the email templates as well that you can use, and some FAQs in there to help you get started. If you don't have access to these reports, all we need you to do is drop a note to support at MyWebAudit or the live chat and just say, hey, please get me access to client reports. If you don't have AI insights, which is the ability to have an AI copilot analyze all the audit reports and then put together like a growth plan, again, drop a note to support at MyWebAudit or live chat us, and within 24 hours, you will be good to go. Everyone here should actually have access to the AI insights on the SEO report and the GBP report on the Google business, on the website report. It's still in early access right now. So if you don't have it, you should get it. It's really, really cool. When you look at content and copy, it's really analyzing the content and copy and giving you very specific information. It would take you hours to literally analyze and write and put all of this together. It analyzes the headlines, the copy, the formatting, checks for spelling, all of that is done, right? When it comes to SEO, giving you ideas on meta titles, headers, other content that you could be adding to the website, all of this is kind of like all done for you, right? It took us hundreds of hours to put this into place, so you can generate this in minutes. So whether you use this to fulfill the work and just kind of get it done or delegate it to a team, or whether you put this in as part of some of the scope of work, or just present this and say, hey, look, we did all this work. Now we just have to add it to the website. And this is what the investment looks like. However you want to do it, you can do that. Generally for us, this is part of what they're paying for. It's not something that we just show or give.